Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for joining me. I am Paula at Paper Crafts by PRB, and I am making for Monday the 14th, I'm joining the collab ABC April 2025, and on Monday the 14th, I am doing, it's the letter L, and I'm doing labels, layers, and lace. So basically, I have made these labels and I have layered them and then I put lace around them. So I guess you could just call it a collage, but the steps I did was I made labels and then I cut them out and then I layered them. I only did 3 per collage. 3 labels, and then I put lace around the edge. So very easy to make. You just need to have some some kind of label design, whether it be a rectangle, a square, and then I used lots of letters, lots of numbers, small little images. You could do, butterflies, of course. You could do mushrooms. There's lots of different ways you can make these. Okay, so I'll show you my process. Of course, you may find a different way of doing it, but this is my process. All right, so again, like I said, this is a collab with 7 Plaza and Crafty by Tony. So basically what I do is, like, for example, I just glued these 2 book pages together just to make it stronger. And I forgot my ink pad. So let me go grab my black ink pad. I'm sorry. So it's just right here, real quick. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so basically I just use different scrapbooking papers that have a little bit of design on the back. And I also like to use, so you can tell that these are different colors, I like to do different colors. As you can see, like on this one, this is more, a lighter color compared to these 2. So I like to layer mine with different colors and different size labels. So basically, I did this one already. So I just stamp randomly onto my scrapbooking paper or my book page. So that's just an example. And then I stamp inside those. I'll show you how to do that, or I'll show you my technique. So basically all I do is, so this is an old stamp set. Some of them are from Stampin' Up, and some of them are from, I don't know where they're all from, to be honest with you. I don't like doing circles because I have a hard time cutting out circles. I just can't do that. Okay, so basically what I do is I just go through and I just start stamping. Okay, so do that. And like I said, I like to have a variety of colors and variety of different size images. So I just go along and I stamp along here. I'm not going to stamp this whole paper here for you just because I think you get the idea. Okay, and then I have this stamp. And I'll stamp this. I usually put these on an acrylic block, but again, I forgot to bring that over here, so this I'll do. Okay, and these were some that I already cut out just to kind of save some time, but as you can see, they're just a different variety. I've got lots of different words and techniques that I do on each one. Okay, so there's that. Okay, So next I use another Stampin' Up! Stamp block. And I just use, I don't know, these have dots all over them. So I like using this one. So I just randomly, again, put dots. Let me do this right here. So this is all I do. All right, just gives it a little bit more texture. Okay, that's all I do. Okay, that's good. So next I've got some, I got some flowers. These are small, very small images. I wish I could find my block to show you how I do this, but so basically I just randomly put that on there. Okay, all right, so I'm just going to do that on a few of these. Okay, so just like that. All right, that's all I do. All right, so there's those ones. Okay, and then I have some Tim Holtz I just use numbers. So I am going to go ahead and stamp on some numbers. And I just, again, I do them randomly. I do sideways. I really need to find my stamp block. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Goodness, I thought that I was prepared, but obviously I was not. Okay, this will make it so much easier. All right, so I'm just gonna put that on my block, my stamp block, just like this. Okay, I do them sideways. I do them, you know, I just randomly do them. Okay, I'm gonna put that right there for now. Okay, I've got this stamp. And again, I just randomly go through here and I just put whatever on each one. No rhyme or reason. Okay, I put this one. Let's do this one like this. And we'll put this one on here like this. Okay, so I think you get the idea, right? Just random stuff. All right, let's just do a few more numbers. Because like I said, I do have some of these already made. So I don't need to do a whole lot. I was just kind of showing you my technique of making the squares. Okay, or making the labels, sorry. Labels, labels, labels. They're not just simply squares. Okay, let me move all that stuff aside. And then of course I go through and I cut these out. Okay, so that's pretty self-explanatory as well. Just kind of go through there. I'll cut out a couple of these. Like I said, I already have some, so I don't need a whole lot. And then I ink up around these edges with brown. I do brown when I ink or when I distress the edges. Okay, so I'm just going to cut out this one next, and then I'm going to start putting them together. All right, there we go. Okay, so all I do is, let's do this one since it has, oh, well, I guess I need some more. Like I said, I like having different colors. This one has more of a white color, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do one of those just to give it a little bit more interest. Okay, there we go. All right, I'll set all this aside. Okay. Let me cut out this one real quick. All right, so are you following along with the collab by Seven Plaza and Crafty by Tony? I know I mentioned before, I don't do every day, but I have done a few. All right, so next, let me bring these, oh, I just touched my hot glue gun. All right, so basically all we're gonna do is get a piece of glue paper here. We are going to arrange these so that they're kind of like a cluster, or so that they're exactly like a cluster. So basically, I am going to, here are my labels. All right, so all I do is I do, like, let's say a long one and a short one, and then those two are pretty much the same color. So I want to find a different color. So I want to find a lighter color. Let's see if this one will work. Okay, so I do it like this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hot glue right here on this corner. All right, so I'm going to go like that. So that holds those two together. Okay, and then this one gets hot glued down here a little bit. Okay, so this goes like this. All right, so that's my cluster. And like I said, I only do about 3 together. I don't do more than, I've done 4, but sometimes I just get it gets to be too much sometimes. At least for my liking. Okay, so then I have that. And then I'm gonna put that at the top of that one. Okay, so I'm going to go like this. I'm just gonna glue this down to that edge a little bit, and I'm gonna slant it ever so slightly, and then I'm gonna put this right there. I'm gonna put it behind it. Okay, so that's gonna go right here. Probably a little bit here. Okay, so that's all that's done with that. Okay, so let me move these to the side. All right, so now I have some lace, and what I want to decide is if I want to put the lace here or if I want to put it up at the top. You know, where do I want that lace? So I think on this one I'm gonna do maybe kind of like this rounded area right here. Okay, so I just fold that over a little bit, and then I just sit and ruffle up my lace. No rhyme or reason to this part. I just sit here and go like this. Okay, and then I glue that down. Okay, and then this kind of gets to be tricky sometimes. All right, so I'm gonna glue that down. Okay, and then in order for that to stay down, I have to put down a little bit of, you know, it has to have a base to hold on to. Okay, so then I do that. Okay, and then I flip it over, and the rest of this just gets cut off. Okay, so this little piece needs to be cut off. Gosh, I keep touching that hot glue. Oh, that hurts. Okay, so I just kind of clean it up. Okay, if that makes sense, obviously, because you don't want all this showing from the other side. Okay, so then I cut that off. I cut that off. And you know what? There might be easier ways to do this, but this is how I make mine. All right, so basically it looks just like that. All right, so I'm gonna finish making this one. And I've got some lace right here. Let's see here. Let's cut off some of that lace. All right. So basically, again, I kind of look at this and I think I'm just going to put some lace here on the side. Okay, so I'm going to turn that to that side. And I just start kind of ruffling this lace up, kind of like this. Okay, let me turn this so that it's more like that. Okay, and then I just go like that. And then I put my glue on my lace like that. And then I put a little tab here in the back so that it all stays down. Okay, like that. And you don't see that from the front because then like I said, I clean it up. Okay. So then I turn it over and I take a look at it. Okay, so then this needs to be cut off right there. All right. And then this just needs to be cut off right here. Okay. So that's pretty easy. Okay, so we made these two today. Okay, so I put the lace right there. Oh, I got gluey strings. Okay, so that one, and I made this one for you. All right, so, they're very easy to put for, clusters. You could put a page tab on here, glue like a page tab, and that could be on the edge of a page. Put a page tab like that and do it like that. This could just be a embellishment for the top of a pocket. Just glue it to the top of a pocket. Glue it just to the top of a page. And let's say this is my journaling page and I glue it to the top of my page. You could just tuck it into a pocket. Lots of different ways to use these little label clusters. All right. There we go. If you like my video, could you give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel if you haven't already? And I will see you next time. Thank you.